So look at it from today's approach. What do we need? How are our bodies different? But then how can we also stay true to the tenets of the 6 tastes and the doshas and the chakras and all of these amazing sources of wisdom that come from Ayurveda?
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, a lifestyle podcast hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsey Simcik.
Tune in for a new episode every Tuesday to hear our honest conversations about topics like wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and self-development with guests who are really smart, really inspirational,
and really fucking funny. It's real, it's raw, and it's unfiltered.
Inspired by our transition from our 20s to our 30s, we realized it's so much more than that. Our mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to help you navigate any transitions in your life and propel your personal growth.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go.
I guess I could just only do one at a time, I think. Well, actually, that's a lie. My motto used to be always have backups. It's kind of fucked up.
Oh, wow. That's going to be on our next bag at our event.
It is always.
All hustle, no luck,
My
and
friend
then
Taylor,
no backup. All back.
We would always say, always have backups.
Always.
I always had backups till Justin.
I was just telling Krista about a guy that just texted me out of the blue that was looking for a podcast on iTunes and came across ours.
Just looking at the top charts.
And he and I like kind of saw each other for a hot second right as we were starting the podcast. And it was just Krista and I was probably oversharing and he was like freaked out. I wasn't sharing about him. I was like just talking about like family or whatever, like oversharing.
I forget.
And he was totally like weirded out and just like pieced. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, wow, I'm so happy for you. That's incredible. Like you guys are killing it. I was like, uh-huh. He's really sweet, but I was just like, cool. That's a fun full circle moment.
It's funny too, like
why is he reaching out to me?
Yeah. And like, it's like so many people need other people to validate people before they validate people. Like it's like do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like what if you weren't successful?
Yeah.
It would have been like, oh, she had this weird podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's because it's so successful. It's like, I mean, that's like that situation with that girl. We had a situation, there was someone in a circle, that I'm in and talk shit on the podcast at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And now wants to
be on the podcast.
So, it's like what you needed everyone else to like see something and then, or you don't, I guess they don't, I don't know.
Well, I think I think as I get older, like it's almost fun to see the potential in people or projects or things or whatever, or movements before people catch on.
Totally.
If you really tap into that intuitive part of you that knows that something is going to be greater than what it is now, it's actually really fun. Because then you get to tell them, you're like, yo, I believe in you. And I can't wait until you're like top of the charts and I say I knew you when or something. You know what I mean? It's just like that is so much more fun than just being like, it's not going to make it.
Totally. It's like when it makes it, I'm like, my job's done.
Yeah, exactly.
You got everything you need. I want to be there when you like don't believe that you got it. And like you don't think that it's going to be good and you don't to remind you why you're doing this. You know what I mean? Like you're not doing this because of everyone else, hopefully.
Yes. It's like a superpower to have that. And I think we both have it where we can look at our friends. And it's funny because sometimes I can't do that for myself, but I can look at a friend of ours who's super talented, say they're a talented photographer. We have a bunch of them. And I'm like, yo, you need to shoot this brand and do this and do this. And not that I'm like pushing it on them, but I already see it. And I'm like trying to help them see it in themselves. But then at the other end, it's hard for me sometimes to see that in myself, but I'm definitely good at that. Totally. And you are too.
I'm people's managers. Mm-hmm. Literally. That's why people say I'm their manager because I see it before they can see it. I'm like, you're so good at this. You should do this and whatever. But yeah, that's so interesting. So you're going to text back.
Well, I did. I was like, thanks so much. How are you? Like, what am I supposed to say? Just thanks so much, period. And then it just dwindled off. And I was like, cool.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. He liked the last thing that I said. because I didn't ask him a question.
Savage.
You know, I was just
Dude,
like,
that little thing, the little like liking of comments and shit is so sad.
it's 1,000 words.
Dude, me and it's funny. It's actually fucking hilarious. If Justin and I have ever gotten in a text argument,
I know.
we'll start down thumbing each other's comments. It's the funniest. Literally, so then we're arguing and I start laughing out loud because it'll be like, I don't really think that. And he's like, down thumb. Like I'll be like, and then we'll go back to each other's comments and we'll start down thumbing everything. And we'll be like down thumb. And he'll give himself exclamation points when he wants to be heard. So like on his comment where he's like he'll put himself with a thumbs up or an exclamation point. It's like the most childish thing I've ever seen.
That's actually amazing to break up the seriousness of a
fight. It kills
fight.
me. I just start laughing. I start laughing my fucking ass off because he keeps
amazing.
thumbs upping his own comments and shit. I'm like, oh my God.
Nah, dude.
Literally,
thumbs down.
I'm like, no, thumbs down. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, that makes me happy.
Same.
So yeah, okay.
We're wearing the same outfit, but like in a different version today.
It's hilarious. We had an interview earlier today.
I have long sleeves. She has short sleeves, but it's both black. I have shorts.
Ripped.
She has jeans.
Yeah, and they're all like ripped, and the person we were interviewing totally called us out on.
What did he say? What are these?
He was like, "So, why are your jeans so ripped?"
Yeah, he's like, "Let's talk about your outfits."
Thanks, Dad.
Literally, thanks, Dad. He's like, I can see your butthole. That's my comment. I'm like, I say that. I say you can see your butthole. My shorts are so short. I don't think they're that short.
I didn't think they were either.
I've definitely worn shorter.
Same.
These are like my conservative shorts.
I just knew because my thigh was popping out of
Yeah, that's why sometimes I can't fuck with those because my thighs like...
Yeah, they just pop. It's kind of fun though to play with them during the day.
It is like to push them in and stuff. You're like, it's time to go. And you like push your thigh back in.
You're like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Today on the podcast, shall we?
Yes.
Sahara Rose.
Our sweet, sweet Sahara.
Sweet, sweet.
Sweet, sweet, beautiful.
Pumping
Sahara.
out the most beautiful,
dude, this book
valuable
is so
books.
Gorgeous.
I'm like,
this book is gorgeous.
She took
That's another one, a friend where everyone knows Sahara's amazing. But I just look at her fucking book. I'm like, do you even know?
Yeah, do you even know?
When people are so in the process, I'm like, do you even know how gorgeous this book is?
She took a risk by going to India to shoot the beautiful photography for this Eat Feel Fresh book of hers. And she hired local photographers all over India. And she didn't know if they were going to be good or if it was going to be like cool and chill and work well. And it was like magic.
And you can see in the book.
Oh my God.
The colors.
It's like emotional. I was like,
and the
oof.
recipes are just so great. So it's bringing Ayurveda to modern times and making really accessible, easy recipes that, we can all use and kind of live more aligned to our doshas.
Yeah. We love her. Yeah. As always, Sahara Rose keeps it real. And she's
so fun.
And she's so, she makes, talking about all of that stuff, like we can do it today. You don't have to prepare. You don't have to read the whole book. Like you can start tapping into perhaps even more what your body needs through Ayurveda today, which is really awesome. And she's funny and she's beautiful, newly engaged. We talk a little bit about that. I mean, flying high. And just her. Oh, and she interviewed Deepak Chopra on her podcast recently, which is a bomb episode. Go over and listen to it. It's really, really good.
Yeah, she's such a good interviewer. Yeah, so we'll link that in the show notes too, and then where you can buy the book, and then her Instagram and everything like that, so you guys can connect with her. Yep. She's one of our gals.
All right, y'all. Enjoy this episode. We will see you on the other side of this.
See you on the flip.
Bye-bye. This episode is brought to you by Kopari Beauty, empowered by the coconuts. I have now the count is at 5 Kopari coconut deodorants throughout my everyday.
It's like everywhere I turn, I have one. I have one in my car, in my car console. I have one in the bathroom. Justin uses it now.
Okay.
I know. Justin using natural deodorant. It's pure laziness. He really just doesn't want to buy new deodorant. Makes me so happy though.
Well, I also carry one of the mini ones that we had in our events recently, just to give people, because I want them to know.
Totally.
I need you to know how amazing this beautiful push deodorant is.
I enjoy putting it on.
So good. So there's no aluminum, no baking soda, no parabens, no silicone, no phthalates, nothing. None of that. It's made with 100% organic coconut oil. It's pure. It's smooth. It's cooling.
It just feels so good. It does feel good. And like, I love the smell. I like reapplying it if I need. It's just...
It's fresh. And the smell is actually the best.
Yeah.
Actually the best. We've tried a lot of deodorants, and it is so delish. And they have, obviously, if you guys know Kapari, all of their products. We love the coconut oil for your body. The face cream is actually amazing. They just have so many. Rose toner. Just go to the site. I would peruse kaparibeauty.com, and you can use our code almost30 for 15% off. We love this brand. We had Gigi, one of the founders, on the podcast.
Really
check that.
Podcast.
Yeah, check that interview out. But kaparibeauty.com, and the code is almost30 for 15% off. This episode is also brought to you by Hum Nutrition. How do they do it? They just keep upgrading. I'm sorry. The new Collagen Pop from Hum Nutrition is my go-to. This is going to make your skin look supple as hell. It is going to upgrade your water. It's delicious. It's premium marine collagen, which you know is highly absorbable and what we prefer. But Hum Nutrition is your one-stop shop for all high-quality vitamins. You know, it's really hard to surpass these strict regulations in the vitamin industry, and they meet all of the high quality standards. And leading nutritionists recommend Hum across the country, all over the world. They always have an outstanding experience with this brand. So how it works, you go on to humnutrition.com, you take a 3-minute quiz. It's like a little questionnaire, and they will create your own unique vitamin and supplement profile. And then you get a free nutritionist report. So a personal registered dietitian will review your data and then send you a personal profile and then some recommendations. And then you can customize your cart, whether using all of those recommendations or picking and choosing. And then you get them, and then you change your life. Okay? Hum Nutrition has definitely changed my life. Right now, I am obsessed with the red carpet. So I'm just all about glowing skin, really healthy, beautiful hair. It's a staple of mine. Love it so much. And as always, the raw beauty powder that I put into basically every one of my smoothies. And the Collagen Pop, as I mentioned before, got it in my purse right now. Little sparkly Collagen Pop. Love it. humnutrition.com. Use our code almost30nation for 15% off your first order. So that's humnutrition.com. Almost30nation is the code, and you get 15% off your first order. Hi, sis.
Hello, sister. The homie is here.
Like hanging with our
I know. Feels good.
soul sister.
Yeah.
What's up, Sahara Rose?
How are you guys? I can't believe it's been a year.
Has it been a year?
It's been a year. Yeah.
Actually, someone in the Facebook group said something about you.
People are still like hitting me up from that podcast last year.
Really?
I'm like, wow, that went viral.
Staying power.
Dude.
Let me see what they said. It was really
Well,
sweet.
yeah, because I mean, work like this is just, it transforms your life if you let it. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
It connects to more than just your physical body. Like it connects to everything.
Yeah. They go, hello, beautiful women. It was Joe Taylor. Have you ever heard of Sahara Rose? She teaches Ayurveda and has a podcast called The Higher Self. I stumbled upon it a few days ago and have been feeling called to learn more about it. Has she been on Almost 30? Do you know more about this?
Love her.
Do you know more
It's
about
the
that?
And then
highest
of course,
self.
Susie
Highest
Lauren,
self,
love her.
yeah.
Everyone jumps in. Yes, episode 80.
I know,
love her.
everyone's like-
And then Sarah goes, she's been on the podcast before, episode 71.
Come on.
And Ashley said, love her. And I read her Idiot's Guide. I listen to her podcast regularly. She's the one who started me on my journey.
Aw, I
That's
love
so
it.
cool.
So sweet.
Well, I love the community you guys have built. And it's like taking, I feel like people who are into like fashion, wellness, and like taking them to that next level, right? And like offering them like, so it's like a buffet of like, do you want like hormonal balance? Do you want to be vulnerable? Like, what do you want? And they can just like pick and choose and dive in. So thanks for offering this.
Yeah. I mean, people are so much more than just one thing, you know?
We have so many sides to ourselves.
Yes. So it's like, I feel like want to learn about so many things too. So that's why the podcast is so good. And you do that too.
For sure. It's so hard. Like these days, it's like, you know, a lot of people I talk to, they're like, I'm trying to build a brand. And they're like, I'm only going to be even like Ayurveda girl or like hormone girl or this. And it's like, how? It's like, we have so many sides to ourselves.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah. It's like we're not like
so many things.
Right. It's like Pepsi can be like, I'm just Pepsi and like stick to those colors for the rest of their lives because it's not a human. But for us, we're like, I'm changing every 5 seconds, let alone like over the course of a year. So I think with humans, we put so much pressure on ourselves to create these personal brands when like, I feel like personal and brand are two kind of separate things.
Totally. How have you changed over the last year?
Oh my gosh. Well, last year, my first book came out and I honestly had no idea how it would do because it was my first book. Honestly, before it came out, I was like, well, I guess once this comes out, I'm just going to have to like get a job. Like,
no way.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, I really didn't know. And like, my parents were like, okay, once you're done with this whole like book launch thing, can you get a job? I'm like, okay, fine.
What were you thinking it would be?
Like, I honestly didn't know I was thinking about becoming a real estate agent because that's what my parents kept telling me to do.
You would honestly crush, but don't do it.
I was like, I'll decorate the homes all like feng shui and then like, I guess sell them, even though I'm going to be like, you know, I think you should just travel and not live in a home at all. But I didn't know because I was like, I guess that's the only thing I could do that maybe I'd have enough free time to like keep doing my other stuff, right? I just wanted something to just do to pay bills so I could like keep doing what I wanted to do. And I think a lot of us, we get into, you first don't know what you want to do, then it's what you want to do, like what Krista's episode was all about. And then it's like, okay, how can I like turn this into my full-time thing? So once the book came out, people started to read it and I was really scared. Oh my God, people are going to think I'm too young or this, that, all the fears that I had. And people were really receptive to it. And in fact, the things that I was afraid, like being young or being modern, et cetera, were the things that made people enjoy the book. And then from there, I began to just, like learn more about, okay, how can I take a book and create a program around it? So I created my program. And then from there, created like several other ones. One of them was Doshas and Dharma. How is your dosha, your mind, body constitution related to your life purpose? Because that was a huge thing I was going through. Yeah. And then like learning more about like the book writing process. I honestly thought once you're an author, it's like, that's just your job. And for people out there who want to listen to books, like I'm just going to be straight up. Most authors are not making their livings off books. In fact, most authors lose money on their books because it takes up a lot of time. You don't get paid a lot of money for it. And you end up spending so much time and energy in promoting it. So you as an author have to be creative and figure out, okay, what are other ways I can create value? I had to really change my relationship around money because I was always like, money, scary. I don't want to think about that. And it's like, okay, no, if I want this to be like my full commitment, I have to think about ways to create money and revenue. And again, that is creating value. So lots of inner healing work I've had to do myself. And then also like last year, like towards the middle of the year, my Instagram was still Eat Feel Fresh, which is the title of my new book. But I was blogging as Eat Feel Fresh for 7 years. And sometimes when you're blogging behind like a brand name, you're like, I felt like I have to keep posting up all these food pictures because that's what people expect from me. And that was like holding me back to like a layer of myself that was only one part of me, but I had evolved since then. And a lot of people, they have those names, so they're stuck to being that person. So I made the switch to my Instagrams now at I am Sahara Rose. It's interesting. I wanted it to be just Sahara Rose, but it's like taken by a dog, I think. So
did you message them and ask them to buy it?
I'm like, I'll pay you $200. Please give me your username. It doesn't work. Yeah. But it's interesting that the universe kind of like put the name I am Sahara Rose. Like that's the name I had to take because it was truly an embodiment of like, this is who I am. Like I am Sahara Rose.
That's a good one.
So yeah. And it really had me like step up into like what it is that I want to do. Less of being a messenger of a thing. Oh, this is what Ayurveda says. I'm going to be the reporter of this, right? That's a really good way to start. But I don't, there's two types of people. There's traditionalists and there's trailblazers. Traditionalists just keep on keeping up the old tradition, which are great. They have a lot of value in society. But a trailblazer is to push through and to pass those norms. And it's going to come through some pain and some drama and all of that stuff. But that's the only way the society keeps on revolving forward. So for me, I would rather be a trailblazer than a traditionalist.
You def are a trailblazer.
Yes, you are.
I was thinking about two things, like when you said about you being too modern and too young with your first book. It's interesting because what I thought with, just my solo episode, that what was boring because, I think it's kind of just my life is very standard from my perspective, was what people resonated with the most, because they could see themselves in my journey and like what I've been doing. And then related to your dharma and doshas. So how is your dosha related to your dharma?
Yeah. So again, if people are like, she's like talking in some weird language. So dosha means mind body type. Okay. And we're all born with it. We talked a lot about it in that last episode. So I'm not going to go totally in. I think it was 78. Did you guys say?
71 or 80.
We can definitely do a Facebook group.
Check the Almost 30 group. Yeah. Or we'll post it. So your dosha is essentially your mind body type. There's 3 of them. Vata, which is air, Pitta, which is fire, Kapha, which is earth. So people who have a lot of air mentally are really creative, right? Like we may say a space head or airhead, space cadet, head in the clouds. So they have a lot of air. Like imagine just like a bubble of air floating above them. So because of that, they're really creative. They're thinking of ideas. They may be artists, eccentric, big picture thinkers. I think of them as like birds over society that's like able to kind of like see over yonder where like you guys cannot see. But they may not be as good as executing it. So they can see that vision, like a projector in human design. I would relate to Vata, of being able to see a vision. But again, they may not be that person who's going to like lead the team on it, right? So with all of that creative air energy in their minds, when that is not balanced, when it's not grounded, it can turn into a tornado. And that leads to anxiety, which I would say is probably the most common imbalance that I hear of. Which when you have anxiety when you're sleeping, that turns into insomnia. So think air thoughts. Pittas are fiery. So fiery people, they're like ambitious, goal-oriented, hardworking, they're go-getters. But at the same time, when things don't go their way, they can snap. They can become feisty, right? Like even a fiery person, as we say, is like, maybe they're hot-headed, hot-tempered. So they're like the kind of people who will be like, honking at you in traffic, just a lot of like maybe rage if it's not channeled correctly. So ambitious, hardworking, determined, but also could be angry, frustrated, impatient, the shadow side of the fire as well. Then Kapha people are earth. So they're grounded, they're earthy, they're peaceful. Do you guys have people on your podcasts that talk like this sometimes? Right. Do I feel like this to you?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes I can, but no, this is not my main one. But some people, like I know Alexandra Roxo has been on your guys' podcast, and she has a lot of that. She's not born Kapha, but like now she is behaving very Kapha. Like she's all about embodiment, grounding, connecting, right? That's so, and she wasn't born that way. She had to actually learn that, which is why she teaches it. So Kapha people are like, I think of Taurus, right? Like the planet Venus, like Venusian people. So they're really like luxurious and they take their time and they're calm and they love to listen to people. I think of Oprah. Like Oprah is like, why do we love her? It's not because she gave like a killer speech, but it's because she has that ability to like sink in with you and just listen. And like totally see you there and have spaces and pauses. Which is really hard for a lot of us. So that is the beauty of Kapha. But sometimes when that's in excess, you can get stuck. You can get resistant to change. You can remain in a relationship that no longer serves you, or in a job that no longer serves you, because it's just so much easier to stay put than it is to move forward. And because of that, again, our bodies are reflecting of our minds. So you can gain weight. You're holding on to energy, and that makes you feel more stuffy and tired and sluggish. So this is kind of what they look like more mentally. But in terms of dharma, the word dharma means your purpose, right? It's like, why are you here? Why is any one of us here? And it's not just one job. It's not just one criteria, but it's more of a soul path. And we're here for many purposes. You could be a mom, you could be a teacher, you could be this. But it's like the essence and the vibration that only your soul can bring. And for each of us, it's different. And if you think about it, it's like the world can only become whole when everyone is like stepping up to whatever their gifts are. So some of us, if you have kids, one of them's like more of an artist, one is more of an athlete. if you have twins or anyone in your family, everyone's naturally good at different things. So imagine if everyone genuinely just like rocked it at what they were good at, the world will fall into balance. So what I realized in figuring out my own dharma, like why am I here, is that it's so related to your dosha. The Vata people who are born with these like creative eccentric minds, they are the artists, they are the visionaries of society, like Steve Jobs. Like if you look at him, he's such a Vata, tall, lean, thin, creative, eccentric, like imagine this world with like iPhones, but also he was like kind of crazy and sporadic and he wasn't quite there for his family and he had the shadow sides of the Vata as well. He was also a raw vegan. He named Apple after like an apple. So there you can see it. Or like, can you guys think of a Pitta?
Was Pitta fiery?
Fiery. Fiery celebrities.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a fiery celebrity.
Ari Gold.
Ari Gold, totally. Yes. So he has that Pitta that he's like, he's a boss, right? But also he was like not there for his wife and he was always on the phone all the time. And this is Entourage, guys, if you're like, what are you talking about?
Cardi B.
Cardi B,
She's pretty chill.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
She just threw a shoe at someone. So.
That was
Nikki. Oh, so Nikki?
Yeah,
Nikki.
Yeah.
So
she's desperate right now.
Right. So they both have that fire. Jennifer Lopez is who I always think of. It's like she's like in her 40s and she's like slaying it. Like even her songs are like fuego, fuego. Yeah. Her like outfits are just like fire coming out of her.
Totally.
So much fire, so much heat, so much passion. Like, and she's a Leo. It's like, hello, like you are meant to like rock it and be on stage and be a leader. Tony Robbins, right? He's like, you go to a Tony Robbins event, it's like a concert. He's like, clap your hands, stomp your feet.
Yeah, literally.
And then, but you go to like Deepak Chopra.
Like, I got a feeling.
Yeah.
It's like those, like, it's like wedding party
It's like,
hits.
yeah, it's like, no, shake hands with the person next to you. Give him a massage. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like,
did you go?
I know I haven't gone, just watching them. I'm like, oh, I can't.
Oh my
But
God.
I do want to try it one day just to see what it's like. But he's
I
such
want to go if I can go for free.
Right, totally. We're waiting for that. Tony, we're here. Yeah.
Hey, Tony, if you want to sponsor me, feel free.
He's like, join the wait list.
Yeah, the $1 million wait
honestly.
list. But that's what he does. He has so much heat, so much fire, and that's what attracts people to him. So Deepak Chopra, though, he's super Kapha in his like leadership. I mean, I would listen to his audiobooks. I love everything he has to say, obviously, but it would also put me into like a trance to a sleep. Like it is just so like calm and grounding and restful and listen to your dharma. And it's like, whoa, you're just in this Deepak trance.
Totally.
But that's like the Kapha there, just like, whoo, you just ground right in. Or Oprah energy. Robin Williams is a good example. Robin Williams is making everyone laugh. He's always smiling, happy-go-lucky. But at the same time, no one knew what he was really going through because that's what's difficult for Kaphas, to practice their own self-care and share what's going on for them. So Vatas, they're naturally creative. Pittas, they're natural born leaders. And then Kaphas, they're really good at like listening, one-on-one work, coaches, therapists, even comedians, things like that. So everyone has their own purpose of being here. And if you just, instead of looking at what everyone else is doing, just tap into what comes naturally to me, that's going to be a really good indicator. Like you, Lindsey, have, I would say, more Vata in you. You're obviously a singer, you are a comedian, you are a performer. I just went to your soul cycle class a few weeks ago and it was a performance. It was much more than an exercise class. It's like the energy is there of a performer. And you also have a Vata body type. Whereas you, Krista, have more of the Pitta, where you're like making things happen like a boss, and you know whatever you do,
Big
you're
old bitch.
you're a massive
big
bitch.
old bitch
Yeah. But whatever you do, you're gonna not work for someone else. You're gonna be the entrepreneur. You're gonna be the person that starts it. So
But we got these Kapha cheeks.
we have these. So you can be born with like characteristics of a dosha. Like you and I both have the Kapha cheeks and more of the Kapha phase, but our personalities are not really Kapha.
Yeah.
So that is just a level of Kapha that we were born with. That's going to help us with anti-aging, et cetera, because Kaphas tend to have like fuller skin and less wrinkles. But we're always like, so what do you do to exercise? Nothing's working. Because Kaphas with that glorious skin easily gain weight.
Yeah,
whereas for Vatas, they tend to not gain weight, but skin is a bigger issue.
Yeah.
And then for Pittas, it's more of like acne and like hives and irritations, right? So again, there's no dosha that's better than another. They all have their own shit and their own gifts.
And they can do a quiz on your website.
Yeah, my website, I'mSaharaRose.com, has a quiz you can take, and we'll break it down, the dosha in your mind and the dosha in your body.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, NutriBullet Balance.
Guys, I am so pumped. Justin couldn't believe that we are working with NutriBullet because my nickname at home is Jamba Juice. I am, much to his dismay, I am blending things up at 6 a.m. I am blending things up in the evening. I make smoothies, my teas, everything like that. So when NutriBullet said that they wanted to work with Lindsey and I could not have been more honored.
Yeah, truly. It's a brand that they've been around for so long. Mm-hmm. They've evolved with kind of the trends and the needs of people who are really serious about health and wellness. Mm-hmm. I'm just obsessed with this brand.
I am too. And then we've been working with them. So before I had the regular NutriBullet and I loved it, I've had it for years and years. And so I was really thankful that they sent us the Balance because I have a tendency to
overpack
my smoothies. And I put so much in there. And, a lot of times I can get all the nutrients I need and not have as much. So it's kind of been a good eye-opening thing for me to have the Balance, the NutriBullet Balance, and then have the app and sort of track and see how much and how many calories and fat and carbs of everything in my smoothie that I'm putting in. Mm-hmm. So I'm not being hard and fast with anything, but it does really help me understand my nutritional macros and, whatever I'm having for my breakfast so that I can kind of take that into consideration for the rest of the day.
Yeah, it's so great. And it's not intimidating. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, sometimes when brands say they've made things more high tech, I get nervous. This is so user friendly, not intimidating at all. It's kind of fun. It makes the smoothie making, or if you're making soups or dressings, whatever you're making, really, really fun. So they've collaborated with nutritionists, dietitians, app developers, and just created this really fun experience. And you can customize it to fit your own needs, and you will just enjoy it. It's like one of those things where you're like, oh, this is actually fun.
They have tons of recipes and smoothie types. Mm-hmm. You can be like, I want low sugar, or I'm diabetic, I'm vegan, I need high protein. So on the app, you have the ability to get all these amazing recipes tailored to whatever your diet needs are.
Yeah. And so with the help of Bluetooth technology and the Smart Nutrition sensor, it's able to actually tell you the calories, protein, carbs, fat, and sugar intake based on the ingredient volume in the actual container of the NutriBullet Balance. So it's really exciting technology, making your life easier. The more you know, I think it's just really powerful to have that information as you nourish your body. So for our listeners, we're really, really excited. We get to offer you 25% off if you use the code almost30 at checkout. So you can go to NutriBulletBalance.com and use our code almost30 for 25% off. So that's NUTRI bulletbalance.com. Code is almost30 for 25% off. This episode is also brought to you by Fabletics. Fabletics is your one-stop shop for really cute, affordable, and actually it fits so well, athletic wear for yoga, running, gym gear, anything you want, shoes, accessories. I love it.
Yeah, I'm wearing the Fabletics dress right now.
It's so cute.
It's fucking cute as shit. I'm wearing this dress right now. It's kind of like a mesh white, and it's so soft, so comfortable. It's not really workout, but I'm been wearing it all day, and it's so comfortable.
Yeah, they have what you're wearing is athleisure. You can just wear it whenever. And I worked out this morning and I got, it's really cute, the Faye 2-piece outfit. So it's this beautiful kind of dusted lilac color and this really cute sports bra with this mesh detail. And it's kind of this, it's kind of sexy, but without it being oh God.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's made with the woman in mind. It fits so well. And I'm kind of a bitch about my fit, and this brand really takes the time to fit all bodies. So and
it's high quality too. So I like that it's affordable. You can get
tons of different styles. They release new styles every month. So not only does it fit well, like Lindsey was talking about, but it's also really affordable. So that's what I really like about everything that I get from there, is that it's very, very affordable. So it's like a one-stop shop for affordable gym wear that you want to have also be on trend.
So for our listeners, you can get 2 leggings for $24 when you sign up for the VIP membership. And what's great is that you can cancel or skip a month at any time. There's no commitment to purchase monthly. So Fabletics.com/almost30. Sign up for the VIP membership and you'll get 2 leggings for $24, which is a $99 value. Let us know what you get. If you're wondering what we got in our order, please join the secret Facebook group. We'll talk all about it.
So that was your first book, Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda. That's what we talked about like a lot on the first one. And then like, what was the calling that you got to write this book?
Yeah. So I actually turned in the proposal to write this book before Idiot's Guide came out, because to me, Idiot's Guide was like, we talked about this, like how it happened on the last episode, but basically I had written a book about Ayurveda before and it was my modern interpretation. And then I basically got this book deal from Penguin to write Idiot's Guide, which is like a specific style of book to write about like this ancient health system. So I still didn't feel like I was creatively fulfilled to write my own version. And I knew I didn't want to just end it at this. Like this book needed to come through. So before that book came out, like I just like, even while it was coming out, I was writing that next one. And then I really got the message to go to India to shoot all of the photography, because I feel like a lot of people have this like view of India, which is like Slumdog Millionaire and, whatever you watch on TV, it's like sad and scary and lots of poverty and reds and oranges. And, they have that view of India. And I wanted to
think
show
of like tigers and jaguars eating people.
Oh, really?
I think you're thinking of Africa.
No, because they like encroach into the villages.
Oh yeah, true. There are Bengali tigers. Yeah. So people, when we think about other countries, we only have like one
I'm sure they think
specific
we're fucking assholes.
view. Right. And I just wanted to show the India that I had fallen in love with from living there, that was like bright and playful and colorful and different. And it was a representative of the Ayurveda that I was creating that was like modern, different, unique, and blue. So I was on this walk and I was like, what do I want the cover of the book to look like? It's like, I can literally choose anything. And I just had this vision that came in my mind of me wearing an off-the-shoulder dress in front of a blue house, holding a basket of fruits. And I was like, how am I going to make this happen? And then it hit me that there's a blue city in India. I had never gone. So I was like, okay, I need to go to this blue city and shoot this cover. And the publisher is like, we're not going to pay you to go to India to like shoot these photos. So I spent my entire advance, everything I made to go to India. I had, again, no money for photographers. So I started to use hashtags, India, like India photo, India this, India that. Start messaging all these like young photographers, like 18-year-old photographers, and basically said, I'm going to come meet up with you. And I was about to just go by myself. And then Stephen Lessman is like, okay, you're literally going to like villages to like meet up with people. I'm going to come. Stephen's my now fiance, guys. So he came, he was sick the whole time, but we like went to all these like literal like villages in the middle of nowhere, meet up with these photographers, walk around and just see what happens. And, people are so nice there. Like they would be like, oh, you have a camera, just come to my house, let's cook together. Or I would see someone like had a cool like window on top, I'd knock on their door. I'm like, can I come up? They're like, sure. It's like, imagine that in America. Like someone knocks on my door, I'm like about to hyperventilate. Whereas there, they're like, yeah. So like all of the photos in the book were just moments in time that just naturally happened. Nothing was planned. And it was, just so amazing because I had a lot of fear before it too, of like, what if I'm going there and spending all this money and like the photos don't work out? I actually have no idea. What if these photographers don't even show up, right? And I just had to totally trust, totally surrender, and like just hope it's going to happen the way that it was meant to. And I got to go to villages where they still practice the same way as they did in Ayurvedic times. Like they don't have electricity, running water, nothing. They're like literally on the ground cooking in cow dung huts. So I was like in there with them cooking in the ancient traditions, but then also telling them like, hey, have you guys tried like avocado pudding? And like trying to like show things to them. And they were totally feeling it too. And it was just such a beautiful like cultural exchange. And it's like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be both side by side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Where do they get their water, by the way?
There's wells, and people go every day to the well and they pick it up. They put the basket on their head and they go. And that's why like right now in Kerala, there were these massive floods, and the reason why it's such a big issue is because they don't have clean water.
In where?
in Kerala, South India, which is like the epicenter of Ayurveda. Yeah.
Wow.
The photos are.
Yeah, they're insane.
Yes.
They're so good.
So talk to us more about the content. Like what can someone expect from this book?
Yes.
What are some recipes?
Yeah. So I think what confuses a lot of people about Ayurveda is, well, I'm a cross between two doshas, or if it's summer and I'm a Kapha, what do I eat? And like all of these questions like that. And I know that was coming up a lot for me and everyone I was teaching it to. So the time I had spent in India living with Ayurvedic doctors, everyone ate the same meal. I'm like, well, aren't you going to make everyone something different for their dosha? They're like, no, we cook Tri-Doshically. And what I learned is that Tri-Doshic cooking is to make one thing for everyone that works for all three body types, but you take out the foods that will imbalance a certain body type. So for Vatas, they tend to have bloating, gas, constipation, and then the anxiety and insomnia. So for them, they shouldn't eat a lot of raw foods just because raw foods for them, it's too cold and dry. That doesn't mean no raw foods. We'll talk about this, but in India, they say like, don't eat any raw foods ever. Well, that's because you just can't eat raw foods in India because you'll get sick. But it's just, if you notice you're super bloated after eating a salad, then probably a salad is not the best thing for you. If you do, you want to have it with something warmer. So if you have a Vata in your family, don't just serve raw food. If you have a Pitta in your family, don't serve anything that's too spicy. Like hot sauce, sriracha, like lots of Thai, Mexican food, etc., because that's going to be too heating. So if you're having acidity issues, acne, like inflammation, hives, etc., like I remember last summer, it was right before the book was coming out, and I was like going to boxing and spinning and all these intense workout classes. And then I was trying to bring up my Pitta. So I would like drink these like really spicy ginger soups, and I would go to hot yoga. And then suddenly I just broke out in hives, and my body was just like, this is way too much heat for you.
Oh, wow.
And that had never happened to me before. So it's like all of these things add up. So if you have a Pitta in your family, don't serve anything that's too hot, too spicy, as well as like coffee is not good for Pitta types. Excess garlic and onion are not a good idea. So you want to do like more just like simple stuff and towards cooling. So it doesn't have to be raw, but it could be like steamed vegetables, right? So if you do, let's say, I'll talk about the bowl after, but so far between Vata and Pitta, you could do something that's not raw and not spicy. Now with Kapha, they're supposed to do anything without dairy. Dairy is too like mucus forming. If you think about the qualities of dairy, it's like cold and it's sticky. So no mucus, no dairy, as well as no like heavy like carbs. So breads and excess rice, etc., because that's going to make them gain more weight. So for them, they want to be doing more like bitter foods, again, vegetables, and they can do some spices. So the way to make it work for everyone is to include the 6 tastes. There are 6 tastes in Ayurveda. Can you guys name them?
Bitter, sweet, sour,
salty,
bitter, sweet, sour, salty.
You guys are good. The other 2 are kind of hard.
I know this is the hard one, and I know what it is. It's like something that we never normally have in like fermented foods or normally
like pickled.
Like it. It's like
astringent.
Astringent.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're like the first person who even got near it.
And then
the last one's also kind of hard. It's a spice that you would know, but a flavor that you would know, but
coriander. What is the last one?
Pungent.
Yeah.
Wow. So everyone needs these 6 tastes.
I should have done Max Lugavere have her sit here for 15 minutes when we did the Genius Foods.
Yeah.
Max Lugavere was like, so I've got Genius Foods. I was like, can we guess them? He's like, sure.
So and we got him.
That's
after
amazing.
Like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There was one, he was like, oh, I should have put that in there.
Yeah. So sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, and astringent.
So what's a pungent?
Pungent are things that are like spiced. So like turmeric, ginger, things that add flavor.
Ginger.
So yes, we all need them, but they're also heat building. So we all need these 6 tastes, but certain doshas can like go harder on certain ones, right? So like a Vata and a Kapha should do more pungent because they're cold, whereas the Pitta should only have a little bit. A Vata and a Pitta can do more sweet, like sweet potato, etc., but not a Kapha. So, and I have them all listed in the book. You don't have to like memorize them, but I just say for lunch, have a 6 taste bowl. So for example, you could do sweet potatoes, sour, lemon, salty, some sea salt or some sea vegetables or some celery, bitter, any kind of vegetable. You could do it steamed to make it Tri-Doshic or roasted or cooked in any way. Pungent, you add some spices to it or you cook it in some garlic. And then astringent. Astringent means to take in water. So any kind of legume would be considered astringent. So if you think of kind of like a Buddha bowl, something like that is really easy, and it makes it so much more simple instead of being like, am I getting enough macros, blah, 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 to be like, okay, do I have all 6 tastes in? And if you look for the 6 tastes, you'll be balanced. And the reason why, when I was a raw vegan and did so many freaking diets, I would literally spend Friday nights on Pinterest and be like, brownies, and just like look. And I'm like, wow, this is such a good night. Just staring at pictures.
You would just look at the pictures?
Just look at pictures, like food porn. And and it's like such a common thing because my body was so craving something sweet. I could have just had some quinoa. I could have had some sweet potato, but I was like, no, can't do any of that. Just only eating like bitter foods, or like, people just do salad and protein.
Yeah.
And then they're like craving all the chocolate. Well, that's because your body needs some sort of sweet, some sort of carbohydrate for energy. Fats also, like avocado, go under the sweet category too, because they're building. But you need some source of that. Otherwise, your body's going to go to the extreme and try to get it in the most like over the top way.
Right.
Wow. Skinny dipped almonds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't have that. So remind me, what is Ayurveda? It's all vegetarian. Like what are the views on meat and all of that? Just to remind our listeners.
Yeah. So traditionally Ayurveda was vegetarian, not vegan. The reason why is because like in ancient India, cows were like really honored and revered. So they had a neighborhood cow and they treated it well, and they would drink its milk and it was raw and like everything was fine. Whereas now it's not really the case. And there's factory farming and GMOs and antibiotics. So for my book, I decided to make it totally plant-based. So no dairy in it as well. Just because when I tried so many times to do all the ghee, I would just feel so heavy, so stuck, so sluggish. It was like just so intense. I also took out like, there's basically no rice in the book. Like it's like really plant-based because our bodies are so different from 5,000 years ago. Like they were farmers or like working outside all day. They could eat all the rice and all the bread, whereas now we just can't. We live such sedentary lifestyles, and there's hybridization of the crops, there's pesticides, there's so many things that they didn't have to deal with back then. So I call it alkaline Ayurveda. How can we include more alkalizing foods in there? Like load up on the veggies, add in superfoods. Like just because something didn't exist in ancient India doesn't mean it's bad for you. And I looked at, it's not just, the recipes are not just Indian. I included recipes from like blue zones all around the world. And blue zones are places where people live like centurions, past 100 years. And what do they all have in common? And it's amazing because the guidelines are still the same, but the ingredients are different. So for me, Ayurveda is more of a way of approaching food, a way of looking at life. But I don't believe it. You only have to eat like the way that they did in ancient India, because a lot of the things made sense for that day and age, but it's different now. Like in Ayurveda, they say don't eat food cooked that more than 3 hours ago. And if you think about that, they didn't have refrigerators. So it's like, okay, makes sense. If I cooked food in my hut and it's sitting outside in 120 degree India, it's going to go bad. Or they say, oh, this is a good one. They say, don't eat mushrooms in Ayurveda. And I was like, I love Four Sigmatic. Like, how can I not eat mushrooms? I was actually talking to Tara about it too. And what I found and what he had found too is because when the British rule, so like the British were like ruling over India for a really long time, a lot of psychedelic mushrooms grow in India. Cool. And they didn't want people to ingest them because they could have them and be like, oh my God, it's so messed up. You guys are like taking over our country. My third eye is now open and like y'all gotta leave. So they said mushrooms will make you fall asleep. That was like the thing. So, and in Ayurveda, they call it tamas. It's like something that's going to make you dull, tired, lazy, sluggish. So it kind of turned into this like orally passed, like almost like an old wives' tale of like, don't eat mushrooms, you're going to fall asleep and like not be able to wake up. Whereas that was just because of those psychedelic mushrooms. And the thing with Ayurveda is it's so changing. It's a living science. It's always living and moving. So something like that could massively influence the way that people eat. So, but does that make sense? Like, no, there are a lot of mushrooms that are not psychedelic. There's a lot of like countries like in Japan that eat tons of mushrooms. Even in North India, they eat mushrooms. So look at it from today's approach. What do we need? How are our bodies different? But then how can we also stay true to the tenets of the 6 tastes and the doshas and the chakras and all of these amazing sources of wisdom that come from Ayurveda?
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, Folane. I mean, we are all about the clean beauty.
In the secret Facebook group. So because we've been talking a lot about clean products for the home, clean products for basically everywhere in your life, we were looking for a place to find clean skincare and beauty products. And that is Fabletics.
And they have mile high standards for the products that they carry, which you can trust. So it has to be safe, effective, and luxurious to experience. And they don't compromise.
Yeah. I love that they have Tata Harper. Tata Harper is one of my favorite brands. They have OC. And then they just have a lot of different brands that I didn't even know about that were clean. So basically it's my one-stop shop for getting my lotion, for getting my dry brush. They have a really great dry brush that's like $10 on the site.
Yeah.
That's really quality. So you can basically just kind of redo all of your products and make sure that they're clean and good for you.
Yeah. And I actually just took their skin quiz, which is really great. So it kind of asks you maybe 10 questions. It takes 2 minutes, and they put together kind of a kit suitable for you. And if any product that you try doesn't work for you, they'll replace it with something that does, which is great. And for our listeners, really exciting, you can go to Fabletics.com/almost30, and you're going to get the Clean Essentials kit for only $22. So that's over 50% off. The Clean Essentials kit has 4 travel size non-toxic skin essentials. So the Osea Ocean Cleanser, Indie Lee Toner, Ursa Major Golden Hour, and the Fabletics refillable soap. So you can get that for only $22, 50% off. Fabletics.com/almost30. That's FOLLAIN.com/almost30. Use the code almost30 at checkout, and you'll also get free shipping. So Fabletics.com/almost30. Use the code almost30, $22 for that Clean Essentials kit. What are your favorite recipes in the book?
Yeah.
What's your favorite recipe in the book?
So, well,
What page is
I love making different like potions, as I call it, like just different like tonics. I'm a huge fan of adaptogens, which I'm sure you guys have talked about. So I love doing golden milk. That's a really good and easy one. I do a golden milk paste, which is basically in a little jar. I put together coconut oil with turmeric, ginger, black pepper.
Cool.
And you can add some adaptogens. I like ashwagandha and shatavari. Shatavari is like the feminine form. It's not the same plant as ashwagandha, but it has more female tonic like properties. The word ashwagandha means strength of a stallion. So it's like was traditionally meant for like increasing
getting a penis.
Right, increasing testosterone, more energy, even sex drive. Whereas the word shatavari means she with 1,000 husbands. So that was like, the female getting your Shakti on.
Cool.
So I love both. Put it in a little jar. The reason why you want coconut oil is because turmeric is more absorbable by the body when paired with a fat. And the reason why you want black pepper in there is that also makes it 50% more absorbable. So I'll put like a little teaspoon of that in my like hot water and add a splash of flax milk. I try to not do nuts. I found out I really overdid the nuts, as a lot of vegans do, because it's in everything. So I'll do flax milk and have an electric frother and make this really frothy, delicious golden milk. So I love doing that. I love doing like for breakfast, a really easy breakfast is just like I bake a bunch of sweet potatoes. And then for breakfast, I'll just have some sweet potato with sunflower seed butter and cinnamon. Like really easy. Takes no time, cheap, affordable. For dinner, oh my God, there's so many, but there's a really good sweet potato crust pizza. And the crust of the pizza is made out of sweet potatoes and oats that you blend up with spices. And it comes out and you can put different like vegetables on top.
Is it sweet?
No. Whoa. It's like, it's because of the oats in there. It's just like a little bit, but the sweet potato kind of just makes it mush together more.
Whoa. So do you bind?
That sounds so
like, do you bake it after? Like, do you first bake the
crust? Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's super good. And all the recipes I like talk about what are the, I mentioned what are all of the 6 tastes in there. So then you could also like, for example, if you are a Pitta, you can add more bitter vegetables on top. If you're a Vata, you can add more sweet vegetables. So it's the same recipe for everyone. And then you can do little variations for your dosha.
Love that.
You are so smart.
What's the crystal you're holding?
Oh, this is an Aquamarine Helps with Communication.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yes.
Let me see. So you brought this here so you could communicate well during our interview.
Yeah. Since it's so hard to talk to you guys.
I know, it's working. So now that you have the book out, like, are you feeling, like, what does it feel like? Do you feel more, like, I would imagine if I had a book in me and I wanted to write it, that I'd feel anxious to get it out. But now that you have it out, like, how does that feel?
Yeah. Well, with any book, it's honestly like having a baby, and a lot of the journey is before. And then when it comes out, it's just a different involvement of it, right? So for me, the book is going to come out on October 2nd, and I'm excited to share it. But, you know, you keep on going. Like, I'm already thinking about the next book and the next projects I'm working on. And for me, food is not the end goal, right? For me, food is that thing that you do and you do well. So it's where it takes you. So I really created this cookbook so you don't have to think about food anymore. So it's like that can be the one thing to like kind of scratch off your list, and you can take that energy towards becoming your highest self and doing the things that really fill you up. So even in writing this book, I had to cook so much that I was like, wow, someone really could spend the rest of their life like cooking and worrying about food and stressing. But like, is that really what I want to do? Or anyone? You know, if you're a chef and you love that, go for it. But, you know, I've been in the food world for so long that I can also see how it can just be like a trap, right? Yeah. You're just cooking and thinking about food. And especially for women, right? We spend so much time stressing and worrying about it that it keeps us and it holds us back from things. So for me, I look at Ayurveda in terms of everything. I look at it in relationships, which we can talk about, and how different doshas like vibe differently with each other. I look at it in terms of business and how different entrepreneurs are good at different things, how you can market to different doshas. Like for me, it's just this like cool language to look at everything in life.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about like doshas and love? I know you just got engaged. Like how has that helped your relationship to kind of look at it that way?
Oh my God, for sure. So yeah. So the way that each dosha loves is different. And you have to really kind of know what your lover is and also what you're looking for. So before I was in this relationship, I knew I wanted a Pitta guy. I had dated a Kapha guy in the past, and he was just too chill for me. Like, you know, just he wanted to stay home all the time and like smoke weed and watch TV. And I was just like, I just couldn't. Because I have a lot more Vata in my personality. So I was like, let's go, let's do things. And it was just always like, I felt like the mom, like dragging him around. I was like, I so never want to do that again. So I was like, I want like a Pitta, like not someone who's like, maybe as like, first I tried to date the conscious kind of guy, and that didn't work out.
What was that like?
It was just a lot of like talking about our feelings, which I didn't want to do.
I need to hear this.
Yeah, like a lot of, I mean, I had this idea that like, oh, like a conscious evolved man. And
was it cool ever?
Like, for 5 seconds.
That's what I find in LA. Anytime it's like overly conscious, I'm like, whoa, this is too much.
Yeah. And it's also like, is it conscious, or are you just like using this word in this like man bun to like pretend you're someone you're not? Yeah.
Exactly.
So like I met this guy at this cacao ceremony, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And like my shamanic teacher, I was like, oh my God. No, he like lives in the fucking jungle. Oh, okay. And then we were like, the first day we were like, I love you. And it was like, oh my God, because we're so conscious, we have no blocks and we can just say how we feel. And after like a weekend, I was like, please never call me again. Like you're so, because it was just like so much just like breathing. Like, I'm like eye gazing. I'm like, stop staring at me. Like, and I don't know. I suddenly felt like the man, because he was just like constantly like wanted to like, so how did that feel for you? How is this for you? How does your heart? I'm like, oh my God, I just want to like move on with my life. Yeah. So I tried the conscious guy. That didn't work out. And I was like, no, I really want a Pitta guy, because I'm attracted to a guy who's like ambitious and hardworking and like knows what he wants and is going to go get it. And anyone who's like that in his life is going to be like that in his relationship, right? Like a Kapha guy who's not working hard for his like job or anything, like chances are he's not going to be like chasing you either. He's just going to be like, oh, whatever, it's all good. But the Pitta guy has its other side too. So finally, like I created this man. I literally drew a picture of what I wanted. What's like his age? What do we do for fun? What do we do on the weekends? Like everything I wanted. I meditated so deeply on him. I won't go into the whole story of how we met, but basically I created him out of thin air, and he showed up from Bumble. That's how I met him. The first person I met off Bumble was him. And here I was like, this is literally the guy I drew on a piece of paper. And now I see the other side because now we're engaged and it's been like 3.5 years. And I see, for example, like he'll get, for example, the dog had a bunch of knots on his legs. So I just decided to just cut off all his hair on one leg because like the knots will spread. So
That's
for me,
amazing.
I was like, it's not that big of a deal. Like I'd rather not have his knots spread and he just has like one short haired leg. And like that was not okay with him. And he's like literally freaking out. So I was like, babe, your pitta is so out of balance right now. Like you need coconut water. Like, please, like stop distressing, pranayama. Like, I need to
like have Sahara Rose as your fiance. That would be my dream.
Yeah, or like everything. Like my mom is like complaining, like, oh, your brother's not like going out and like making new friends. I'm like, it's because of his kapha. And like it just helps me understand things and understand. So for example, now I know when he gets like really frustrated about like stupid things like me cutting off the dog's hair, it's actually just his pitta. It has nothing to do with me. No, but
yeah, like wasn't me.
But it just helps you understand and see, even in your friends' relationships and other things, like, you know, why would someone cheat? I think like almost everyone's dealt with that. But, you know, why a Vata would cheat is maybe they're like curious or, oh, what else is out there? Or like someone's intellectually stimulating them. Whereas for a Pitta, I feel like that's like out of like,
Revenge.
they want, revenge, or, you know, they felt like they weren't getting the attention they wanted, or just passion, like it's just a passion and then they don't care. Like a lot of that heat. For a Kapha, I really feel like they won't cheat. They actually, no, I'm wrong. They can cheat. But for them, it's because that other, like someone approached them and they're like, oh, I couldn't say no.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it just happened. So it just like really opens you up to like seeing just the different like multi-layers of relationships and how we can, you know, first decide who we want to be with and how we can interact in situations that we're already in.
Yeah. And how have you made, this is my last question. How have you made your, like what you're doing a business? Because I'm sure a lot of people see you and they're probably like, that's amazing that you wrote this book and you were going to go back to work. And then you made it like your life and now you are doing your own thing.
Yeah. So I think with like, I mean, for example, if you want to work in something like writing a book and information, which we've talked about too, you have to have different ways that you are creating value, right? So what is something that people would pay for? Well, there's a lot of free information out in the world. Yeah. So if you're just throwing information out there, that's a really good way of getting people interested. But how are you going to actually help guide them? And that's what people will pay for. They'll pay for you making it easier for them, you making it, pretty much just more simple for them to take action on. So something like creating a program, let's say you're teaching something, you actually created a program, a step-by-step approach, or you are offering obviously like a consultation, or you are doing a webinar series or something like that, that they can't just get for free, that they are able to seek value from. So I've done so many kinds of programs, from like 4-week webinar programs to like longer term automated programs, et cetera. And what I've always found works best is the more like interaction there is with the people you're helping, the better. Because, you know, we've all bought programs online that have like, you know, you just buy them and you get sent the videos and you never watch them, right? But for example, my Doshas and Dharma program, the first time I did it, I was the one coaching everyone. But the second time I trained 3 of my students to become the coaches. So then they were doing the small group coaching. And now I have like more people who are able to be coaches. So you're able to teach what it is that you know. And this is the way that anyone can really monetize. Like if you're just one person doing that thing, let's say you're a massage therapist and you have like an amazing massage technique and everyone loves you and everyone comes to you. Well, what happens when you break your hand and you can't do the massages anymore? How are you still going to monetize? And the way is to, instead of holding on to that technique, it's to teach that technique to other people. Maybe create your own brand name around it. And then teach them why are you getting all these clients? What are you doing differently? And then they can start doing that and they can pay you like a monthly fee to be using your brand or pay for your training, et cetera. And that's how any brand grows and continues. So the first step is obviously figuring out what you want to do, but how can you make it bigger than yourself? If it stays with yourself, it's only going to grow this big. How can you create like a movement, like Almost 30 Nation? It's a movement. You guys have ambassadors in different cities. So that can turn into they are leading other people, and that can turn into like multi-tiered business. So creating passive income, helping more people, being able to benefit people when you're not personally involved. There's a lot of power in online business, a lot of power in video. A lot of people do a lot of like in-person stuff, which is great. But imagine a room of 12 people. If you had recorded yourself online, I can guarantee you'll get more than 12 YouTube views, no matter who you are. And then from the YouTube video, you could say, hey, click this link and I have this free gift for you. And then from there, you start emailing them and you say, I have this program. And you start with like, maybe the program is $20. And then from there, it's like another one that's like $80. And then from there, it's like $150. And you create something called a funnel. And then that leads them up to creating like a relationship with you. A lot of people jump the gun and they're like, I'm going to offer my $1,000 program. And it's like, well, if they haven't ever spent money with you, they're not going to jump to $1,000. So yeah, learning about, this is something else that I teach in my doshas and abundance and that sort of stuff. But like, how do you create content? How do you create a funnel? And what truly is passive income? Because most of us, when we really wrap our heads around how powerful passive income can be, we're like, oh my God, why am I not focusing on it? We're like so scared about learning the online business stuff. When you realize like how much time it opens up for you, it's like, it is worth the time to study.
Yeah. Genius.
All about
Genius.
that.
How can everyone connect with you if people are new to the podcast and hearing from you?
Where can they get the book?
Yes. The book is Eat, Feel Fresh. You can get it on my website, on iamsahararose.com. I also have a quiz that you can take, which will tell you what your dosha is. It tells you your dosha in your mind and body. That's also iamsahararose.com. And my Instagram is the same. Have a podcast, Higher Self Podcast, which I've had you beautiful ladies
your
on.
episode with Deepak. See you later.
Oh, did you listen?
So good, dude. I listened on the beach the other day. I was like, yo.
So proud.
So proud of you.
Thank
it was
you.
Like so well done. And it was funny when you were did you say in your intro or did you tell us like he was like channeling? So he was like kind of looking off.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
he was. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And people listening, it's like, Deepak Chopra was someone that I never even thought in my life I would be able to meet, let alone like interview and have like forwards with my book too. So it's like, just start taking action. That's the most important thing. So just start taking action towards something and you really never know where you'll end up.
Yeah, I always think of you when I feel like kind of stuck. Just take that step forward.
Just keep going.
We love you. Thank you for being
you guys.
here. You're the
See you later.
best. Love you. Sahara Rose, everybody.
So excited for you guys to get your hands on her new book, Eat, Feel Fresh. It's a good one. And then you can check out what she's doing on her website and on her Instagram. She is, one of our dear friends. So love her. So proud of her. She should be so proud of herself.
Yes.
Wanted to read the review of the week. 5 stars from lovely MB 1206. That's my number.
Wait, that is so weird. You just said that the other week. Whoa.
Wow. Okay. I love this podcast and you will too. If you're in need of some encouragement, self-care, education, and some laughs, listen to this podcast. I started listening to Almost 30 when they did their first episode with Kelly LeVeque, and I just loved it. Lindsey and Krista are so genuine, sincere, truly inspiring, and uplifting to all of their listeners. I hope this review encourages many more listeners because I've shared it with so many women in my life, including my sister. As soon as I heard about the episode with Dr. Candace Birch, our lovely hormone episode,
Yeah.
I convinced my sister to listen and she became equally obsessed with their podcast. On this new day when women are standing up, saying their truths, fighting against people who put us down, actually using self-care and creating a tribe around each other, these two embody all of that and more. I am so grateful to whatever positive energy that the universe sent me to find this podcast. And I can't wait to see what else is to come for these two wonderfully powerful women. What are you waiting for? Go listen. Huh?
That's like we couldn't have written that better ourselves. What are you waiting for? That is a call to action in a review.
I'm pretty sure I met her in Austin.
Really?
Yeah. Just holler at me if we met in Austin because I kind of remember your story. Wow. Thank you so much.
So cool.
So thanks for writing those reviews. They're really important to us. If you love this podcast and you've gotten value from it, it would mean a lot to us to go to iTunes and write a review. Keeps us on the charts, keeps us getting great sponsors for us to get discount codes to, keeps us on tour, all of the things. So really appreciate you taking the time to write a review.
We love you so much. Okay, stay tuned for a new episode next Tuesday and Thursday. And we love you.
Vancouver.
Oh yeah, Vancouver's.
Got 2 dates in Vancouver as they end of wrapping out the tour for 2018. So make sure to check the website for those 2 dates. Can't wait to see you there.
Love you.
Bye.